Good morning. Thank you for watching. A little bit cool this morning. Looks like we got about 2 inches of snow or a little better. It's a beautiful wonderland out there, except for I hate snow. It makes it hard to get to work. Today we're going to have a little bit of a lesson about history. I don't know about you, but I really like finding out about inventions and how they happened. I really have been fascinated by Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, and years back I got the privilege of going to the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan, and boy, man, that was really good deal there. They had a lot of old stuff in there, a lot of stuff about Thomas Edison, and Henry Ford actually moved his laboratory up there and had it set up in a place called Greenfield Village. You need to go up there sometime if you ever get the opportunity, man. There's a lot of good history right there. Today we're going to be talking about an inventor, and I heard a little story about him this week, and that intrigued me, and I wanted to go check out a little bit more about him. Heard about him for a long time and just never did go look up anything on him. But I've got a little article about him I'd like to share with you, and it really pertains to not so much the inventions, but that he really put his faith in God, and God blessed him. So I'd like to get started here. The Lord always provides me with life-changing ideas. Not that I am special. The Lord provides everyone with life-changing ideas. These ideas are quite literally a treasure from the Almighty. It's up to each of us, however, to choose and dig for the treasure. And that came from George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver is credited with saving the agricultural economy of the rural South. From his work in Tuskegee, Carver developed approximately 300 products made from peanuts. These included flour, paste, insulation, paper, wallboard, wood stains, soap, shaving cream, and skin lotion. Carver is also credited with the invention of crop rotation. Cotton was the primary crop of the South in the early 1900s, but cotton depleted the soil. Carver knew that peanuts replenished the soil, and he tried to convince his constituents to plant a harvest of peanuts between cotton yields so that cotton harvest would be more bountiful. The only problem, peanuts were not a profitable crop, which led George Washington Carver into the woods. And it says, why the woods? It says, all my life I have risen regularly at 4 in the morning to go into the woods and talk with God. That is where he reveals his secrets to me. When everybody else is asleep, I hear God best and learn my plan. George Washington Carver. One of these mornings, George asked God to show him why he made the peanut. He knew that it was a solution for soil health, but he needed to know why it was a valuable crop so his crop rotation idea could be implemented. He told me to separate the peanut into water, fats, oils, gums, resins, sugars, starches, and amino acids. Then recombine them under my 3 laws of compatibility, temperature and pressure. Then the Lord said, then you will all know why I made the peanut. George Washington Carver. Within 10 days, George Washington Carver had discovered more than 300 uses for the peanut. One trip to that special place in the woods to talk with God not only enhanced racial relations at the time, but also fundamentally changed the agricultural industry as we know it today, all because he listened and felt the Spirit of God in his life. God's response made sense to Carver because this was his field, God met him where he was. God explained his understanding of an area Carver already was familiar with, like Moses, who used the staff that he already had in his hands, and like the widow who approached Elisha, the oil she had already had was multiplied. God explained something Carver already was involved with. The lesson for us is that we often wait for God to do a new thing in our lives when he's actually seeking to increase and expand that which he has already placed in us. Attitude rather than lip service. I personally identify with Carter's thoughts on hearing God, prayer, and living a life of acting on inspiration. This series of quotes gives us more insight into a man, his success, and how he puts God's influence into action. God is going to reveal to us things he never revealed before if we put our hands in his hands. No books ever go into my laboratory. The thing I am to do and the way of doing it are revealed to me. I never have had to grope for methods. The method is revealed to me the moment I am inspired to create something new. Without God to draw aside the curtain, I would be helpless. George Washington Carver. Carver takes personal responsibility to use with God's given talents and to be productive. No individual has any right to come into this world and go out of it without leaving behind him distinct and legitimate reasons for having passed through it. Carver understands himself and how he hears God. He understands that God's unseen world is understood by looking at the things which are seen. Romans 1 verse 20. He leans on God for understanding. My prayers seem to be more of an attitude than anything else. I indulge in very little lip service, but ask God, a great creator, silently, daily, and often many times a day, to permit me to speak with him. Though the three great kingdoms of the world which he has created, the animal, mineral, and the vegetable kingdoms, to understand their relationship to each other and our relationship to them and to the great God who made us, all of us. I ask him daily and often momentarily to give me wisdom, understanding, and bodily strength to do his will. Hence I am asking and revealing all the time, receiving all the time. Reading about nature is fine, but if a person walks into the woods and listens carefully, he can learn more than what is in books, for they speak with the voice of God. I love to think of nature as unlimited broadcasting station, though which God speaks to us every hour, if we will then only tune in. Carver gives God credit for his ideas, even though he recognizes his own responsibility to hear and act. That's what I would like to get off on, is how much credit do we give God for the things that we do? Or are we putting our trust in God so that he can give us the things that we need to know and reveal to us things? Have you ever done something that you were really proud of? Did you give the credit to God? God gives us all some kind of a talent, and we need to make sure that we give God the credit for that. The Bible tells us that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We can do anything like that. We just have to believe that God is the master of our lives, and that we put all of our hopes and our security comes from God. The Lord is my shepherd, and we should follow him. So that makes sense to me, that we put our faith and hope and trust in God, and He's going to take care of us. What a wonderful man this is, that we can look back on and gain some insight about his life and the things that he done. Man, making 300 things out of peanuts. Can you imagine that? I know one thing, peanut butter. Man, there's a lot of people in this world would starve to death if it hadn't been for peanut butter. Man, that's just amazing that you could do that, and he give God the credit for that. That's amazing to me. No telling what we could do if we put our trust in God. So that's my lesson for today. Hope y'all are doing well. I hope you're staying safe and staying away from the corona. A friend of mine, she didn't have corona, but my friend has lost his mother-in-law. It's a really good family, and they took care of her for a long time, and she passed away this past week. Wish you keep my friend's family in your prayers. Keep our servicemen and women in your prayers, and all the sick and all of our healthcare workers. Keep all of them in your prayers. Always remember, which team are you on? Which side are you on? Are you on God's side, or are you on Satan's side? And think about that this week. Thank you for watching. God bless. See you next time.